It's Thursday, November the 23rd. Kia ora, hello, I'm Philip Duncan. We're ahead of a cold change. The temperature is about to drop right across New Zealand going into the weekend, but then it starts to warm up very quickly for some of you in the deep south, where you might even have a frost on Saturday morning, but then warming up into the low 20s by the afternoon. So it is not all bad news, but probably the most negative thing on the way will be the rain that's going to move up the eastern side of the country. I know those of you in Hawke's Bay, particularly this year, have had enough of it, but unfortunately more is on the way. And northern Hawke's Bay area, Wairoa and inland into the ranges could still be seeing well over 100 millimetres, 150 millimetres up in the hills over the next few days. MetService already has a watch out, and you can get that information off our website or off theirs. But this is the wind map for 5 o'clock later today. So if you can see the orange shading here, that's a sign of the warmer winds blowing through. But down here in Southland, and Otago and Fiordland, that colder southerly, it comes on in and the temperatures start to drop. All going around high pressure down here. And for those of you who keep saying, where's the El Nino weather pattern? If that high was just a little further north, we would be in a very normal El Nino weather pattern. It's just this has dropped further south, making for thunderstorms in Australia and encouraging southerly flows for us. So let's have a look at Friday. That high actually moves closer to us, and that's the reason why you'll notice in the lower South Island, things start to clear up and the skies should be clear by evening. And the wind should also be gone because you do have a frost risk going into Saturday morning, but it won't be frosty elsewhere. Windy southeasters, not very warm, so it'll be southerlies or southeasterlies, and if you're flying into Wellington, you don't have to worry about fog, it'll be wind blowing up to 60, 70 kilometres an hour, which is just another day at the office for a pilot flying into Wellington probably, but there may be a few delays around due to the windy weather there for a time. And then the rain slides up the eastern side, not so much for the west, and this area of low pressure, it starts to deepen. So by the time we go into Saturday, this low pressure zone has formed. Now it's got high pressure to the west, to the south, and to the east. So it's not going to live very long. It'll use up its energy and then fall apart. But it will linger long enough to drive wet weather in here for a few more days. And so it just carries on Saturday, most of it up around Gisborne and East Cape. And like I say, frosty over the South Island when you wake up. And then a beautiful day on the way for many of you. Inland areas should be over 20 degrees. So by Sunday, again, warm in the South Island during the afternoons. Could even be a few afternoon heavy showers or thunderstorms that pop up. The North Island, mostly dry, but the low offshore carries on that wet weather, particularly into northern Hawke's Bay and the ranges of Hawke's Bay. Further away from that, it doesn't look very wet, but there just may be a few showers that pop up further to the west. So next week, more of a traditional sort of spring setup with the westerlies and southwesterlies blowing through again. So west to northwest winds for the North Island, some of them coming around this high to the north. So there'll be a subtropical breeze, nice and warm on Monday, but it'll be a little cooler the further down the country you go, the colder it will get. And our final map for Tuesday shows once again that southerly flow. And this high is really a great example of why the El Nino pattern is a bit broken in our part of the world. It's a small but big thing. You know, the high, if it was just further up here, we'd be in a very traditional El Nino setup. But because it's gone further down, that's allowing low pressure and thunderstorms for Australia, and it's allowing for low pressure and instability around New Zealand as well, and more of these cold southerlies. So does sort of a bit of rhyme and reason to it all at the moment, but it is certainly messy spring weather, and the spring pattern doesn't usually fade until about Christmas time. So a few more weeks still to go, we hope, before things calm down just a little more for Christmas and New Year's Eve. That's all from me. Don't forget our Australia-only 7-day outlook is also out today. We'll be taking a close look at what is going on with this low pressure, particularly around New South Wales and Queensland. Otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow, Friday, with our next update.